Okay to make little mistakes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. We are here today at Radical Reality Productions to break down the cast for our cast assessment today for the cast of season 1, Survivor Yagong Island, and we are going to go ahead and get started here today with our cast. All right. Let's share my screen. If it lets me, I'll edit this out. All right. We're gonna load up. All right, everyone. So here we are. I'm your host, Jay Milligan, and we're gonna go ahead and get started here today. We got some of our collection here members, along with my co-host Marvin Burgos, who currently isn't here with us today, but will hopefully be joining us shortly as he is currently preoccupied. All right. So first up, we got Bill. Pronouns are he, him. He is 60 years old. I believe he's actually turned 61 since, but he's from Washington, D.C., and he's a regulatory analyst. So I will say this, my first game ever, I did play with Bill. I think Bill's great. He's funny. He's kind of like the quirky old guy who's kind of like a dad in a sense. He was on my original tribe, and like it was between me and Bill very early on, but then we end up not going tribal because of the medevac, but Bill was able to slip in really well and was actually able to go to the Final Four and kind of just blend in. I think if Bill can find that early, just like, oh, I'm this old guy, I'm just here for the adventure, he can actually do really well in this game. And I think a lot of people really like Bill in the community, and I think that's actually like a plus for him, is that he fits that like, I'm just old guy here to have fun. It's a game, as he says. I think if he plays up really well, he can actually make it pretty deep.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bill and anyone who stands out from the group, like their hardest part is the initial, like first few rounds and getting ingratiated with a group. So I think you're right, Jay, is if he can get in with a group early, and kind of stake that claim that he can go far. He is, as you mentioned, he's well known in the orc community. He runs games. He's played a bunch of games. So he has the knowledge and the skill set he needs. I think also after getting through that first sort of period, I think as he gets closer to the end, he also becomes it becomes more challenging for him because that experience is going to put a little bit of a target on his back and make him potentially a little bit more threatening to his competitors.
Right, for sure. I mean, I think he'll make them. Go ahead, sorry, Asha.
Oh, I was just gonna say, don't sleep on Bill comp-wise because he is actually pretty good when it comes to endurance comps, and it might shock a lot of people.
No, definitely. Bill can kill it in endurance comps. But as he says, I'm an old man. My joints lock into place eventually. So don't sleep on him. I think we could see him potentially going into the merge and potentially like deep in the merge. I can see him being like 6th, 7th. Maybe even farther. I definitely think Bill will be there around merge time for sure.
Yeah, I'd say early merge if I was guessing, but I'd like to see him do well.
Yeah, same. Okay, if anyone else is good, we're good. We're gonna move on to our next player. We have Victoria Fung. She is 26. She's from Champaign, Illinois, and she's a student. So I will say I don't know much about Victoria. I know she's played in both DCP long games. In the first one, she did play in Exile Island. She was a pretty early boot. This one, she's still currently in the game, and it seems like they might be getting close to merge. So I'm really excited to see when that plays out, how Victoria will play through merge. And like I said, I hope she makes merge so I can kind of see more of Victoria's gameplay as a host, because I really haven't seen much of her. I think she's very strategic. She's very smart, and she's kind of this like shy, quirky girl. So I think people will be willing to keep her around because she's just that, like, she's a little bit an outcast, but she's like, I think people can see her as a number, and I think she has like the strategic ability to be able to cut somebody at the end, and I think people are gonna sleep on her, and I think she's gonna go deep.
Yeah, I played with her in the long game, so I know her game very well at this point. So I know that like Victoria could be a killer if you let her be. Like she has like that quiet quirkiness going on at the beginning that might hurt her at first in this, but like once she's in, like she's hard to get rid of. Like she will like, and I know she's good at challenges too. Like she's not someone who's just gonna like slack. Like she can do good in a lot of different challenges.
No, agreed.
So I have so much faith in Victoria. I mean, I love her. I'm biased, but
I also am like, Victoria, when you're watching this, I've never met you, but I'm literally obsessed with you, Queen. Like, for the record. But yeah, that's my opinion. If anyone else has anything else to say.
I mean, I would say with Victoria that my prediction is hot or cold. Like, I think she either goes out early or she lasts really long. I have not seen much of Victoria. I've seen a little bit, and in what I saw of her, she came out a little bit like aggressive, and so that turned people off. But I think if she can tune that down a little bit, then she has the potential to go far. So I think it just depends, but I don't see her as being like a middle boot. You know, I see her either
Right.
out really quick or in the end game.
Right, for sure. I would agree with that. Okay. All right. So next we have Alex Markoulis. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. His pronouns are he, him. He is 22 years old. He's from Hoboken, New Jersey, and he's currently a student. So I've never seen Alex. He was actually recommended by us, the production member Julia Rowe, and he did apply. I haven't seen much of his game. Unfortunately, Julia is not here to explain more so about Alex. I wish she was, because she did host him twice. But like the vibe I got from him, he's kind of like this, again, a little quirkier, but he's a little smart. But I feel like he's kind of that young guy where he's just gonna be like there. I don't know. I see him. I think he's gonna be like late pre-merge, early merge. I don't see him particularly getting far. I think his I just don't think he has that like cutthroat ability. I think he's gonna be like not loyal, but I'm just not sure where he falls as far as any point in the game. I think he's kind of just an okay all around player in my opinion. But I don't know much about his gameplay to really say. But I think if he can get in, I can see him being in and then being cutthroat if he gets in with the right people. But I just don't know if he's gonna quite do that.
Yeah, the thing with him that makes me nervous is I don't know, like, there are some connections within the cast, and I don't know where he fits within any of that. Like, if he doesn't know anyone, and like, there's not a ton of connections. It's not like everyone knows each other, but it's gonna take sort of that like extra push to get in with a group of people early on. So he makes me a little bit nervous for that reason. But I do think he has a good head on his shoulders. So if he can get past that and build a good group, he would have an opportunity. But I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I mean, I can see him making moves. I just don't know if he'll get the chance to make them, to be entirely honest.
Yeah.
We're good. We'll move on. All right, Zach Schmidt. Their pronouns are they, them. They're 30 years old. They're from Mount Union, Pennsylvania, and they are a student. So I will say this. I love Zach. Zach is a phenomenal person. Zach is so funny, so great. Just such a dark humor, such a light sometimes when you get to know them. However, I just worry about Zach because they know I love them. But their strategic play isn't necessarily the best, and like sometimes they just don't know like what moves and how to level out people, and I'm a little worried for that. I think Zach should be a number, and I think if Zach slides by, they have a chance of potentially pulling something off. I've seen it happen where Zach can have this amazing strategic mind, but I've also seen it where Zach makes the wrong strategic moves and it bites them in the ass. Like, I will say that. I think Zach has the brain for this game, but the problem with Zach is just when to make the right moves and when to do what. I think that's where Zach struggles, and I think that could potentially really get them at the end of the day. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know Zach. I only know sort of watching, through Facebook and seeing the games that they've participated in. The thing that Zach has to do to be successful is sort of to not come out too strong. Like, I think Zach has a real tendency, from what I understand, to start throwing names out early and to get aggressive way sooner than they need to, and that gets them into trouble. If you make a mess early, then you're spending the whole game trying to clean up that mess. It's okay to make a mess later in the game, but you can't do it early. And so Unfortunately, I see Zach being an early boot, but I would love to see a game where Zach holds back and uses a little bit of restraint and then is able to move forward later on using the skills that they legitimately have, but that they sort of just play too hard too fast. And so I see Zach as an early boot, unfortunately, but I really hope not.
Right, and
Yeah,
I will say, go ahead, Zach. Michael, sorry.
that was my worry, was that Zach might overplay the beginning. And so even if they survive like the first couple of votes, it's gonna come back to bite them sooner rather than later. But maybe not. They might prove us all wrong, but
Right.
that was my big worry.
And like I will say this, I love them. They are an early boot a lot of time. And I've been guilty of doing that. But where Zach needs to learn is like someone who's gonna throw out like my name, who people know potentially I'm a little more strategic and people keep me around until they need to cut me. A lot of times I've noticed I get cut a lot at the end of the game. And Zach will throw out names that won't get traction. So if Zach can say, I know this name needs to go and can throw out the right name to the right person, I think they can pick up traction. But I just think I'm just worried about Zach knowing what names to throw out. But if they can do it, they can make a run in this game. I could say that. If they throw out the right name at the right time, they can be in the long run. But I really hope that Zach does make the long run. But unfortunately, I see them being like late merge or late pre-merge, early merge.
My thing is, they've been first boot in so many games that I think it's kind of drilled into their brain now that that's what's going to happen to them. And they kind of manifest it when they're playing. And it kind of, like, they start talking about it to the other players about how they're usually first boot. And it kind of just puts that idea in other players' ears that, oh, they're usually first boot, so let's just like continue the tradition. Like that's how it seems to me, like when I've been watching the games that Zach plays when they become first boot. It just seems like I'm losing myself, so just cut this. But that's what
But yeah, they tend to get in their head and then they talk about it and then everyone's like, oh my, like just. So I think if Zach can hold that back, and like we talked about previously, I think Zach could be like a final 7, final 8 and be like underrated, definitely for sure.
The name of the game for Zach is going to be restraint. Like if Zach can show restraint, then I think Zach can do well. I just worry about that.
Yeah, just same here. All right, I'll go ahead and move on. All right, next we got Carrie Underwood, and no, not the singer. How to make that pun? I love you, Carrie. But her pronouns are she, her. She is 32. She is from Las Vegas, Nevada, and she works in student affairs. So I always say this. I know Carrie has at least played one long game, one mini, and she is one of the people that we have who is a host and production member on, not a host, but production member on Dynamic Character Productions, who I have played in. I think most of us on this actual team have played in. Their games are very well structured, and I think actually did someone like Carrie, where she knows how this game is structured and she knows how to maneuver, and she's seen so many people play these games. They're going to their 5th season now. So if I will plug them, check them out when they air. They are a great team as well. They do an awesome show. But I think her knowing how to maneuver that and knowing how the game, our structure of our game works, can benefit her in the long run, because I think she'll know how to navigate those breakout rooms, which is a very easy problem for a lot of people at the beginning, not be able to work the breakout rooms. That's how people get booted. I think she's very funny. She's very she's a little she's got that sense of she's got this sense of you're just automatically attracted to her as a human being. And I think it's very beneficial. I think she'll lay low, but I think she could make some cutthroat decision at the end of the game to really win her. I think we could see her potentially in the end game, if not 4th, 5th place.
Yeah, I agree. I think Carrie is, if I'm being, I think she's in the final. I think the jury will be deciding between Carrie and another person or two. I think Carrie is a little bit to those who don't know her, she might seem like not a threat. She might be able to lay under the radar, but I think exactly like you said, DCP has been an inspiration for this game, and she knows that game inside and out as a production member. She's got some connections within the cast that we have. I think that she's someone to watch out for. I worry that she's going to need to do something to throughout the game, or several things, to sort of create a resume. And I worry that she gets to the end and doesn't do enough visibly that the jury may not be willing to give her the win. But if I'm being specific about it, I see her going to final 2, final 3, and unfortunately potentially losing to someone else. But I think she is going to go far in this game. I'm not worried about her early game at all. And I think that she has the chops to make it far. So.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I think if she can make those 1 or 2 moves, and she's sitting next to somebody, and 1 to 2 other people, and they're like, and she can be like, I did this, this, and this, and this, and how to do that. I think she could win because of how likable she is. If she can make a few key strategic moves, I think she will be a huge threat to win this game.
Yeah,
But-
socially she's like golden, but yeah, just down to like actual strategic play and like how much she's showing out to like the jury and like, the people are playing, so that they know that she is truly doing something other than just being really nice and really likable, because that it works to get you far, but it won't win you the game. So
Yeah, I agree. I think she's a huge jury management threat. I will say that right now. I think the jury's gonna love her. Like, I think we could see her. I could see her getting votes at the end for sure.
So Jay, am I hearing that she's your winner pick or no?
I'm not gonna say who my winner pick is until we get there.
Wait, until we get to that person. But she is not that person.
I'm not gonna say. I don't think she's not my winner pick, but I will say
that's all I wanna know.
I think she will. I think she could get votes then for sure.
Okay, awesome.
All right, next we have John Millsip. His pronouns are he, him. He is 30. He's from Victoria, BC, Canada. Our only Canadian, one and only Canadian on the cast. I'm excited that we got one. I'm happy that it's John, people. And he works in telecommunications. So John is also one of the hosts that we have from Dynamic Character Productions. John, I love John. John is a huge strategic threat, and he is also one of the best villains I have ever seen, and that's why I worry about John. I hope John goes far and proves he's wrong, but I can see some of his own friends, even that he has in this game, turning on him very early because they're going to be like, John is a huge threat. John is villainous. John's going to cut us. We need to bite first, John first. I can see him going out pre-merge, but if he doesn't go down pre-merge, he can make a run. That's what I have about John.
Yeah, I mean, so here's my thing. I like John a lot. I think I see a ton of my own, like myself in John. I love his strategic chops, and he's like my pick who I want to win the most. Like, I really am rooting for him and hope he does well. I think he has some weaknesses, like you said. Like, to be completely straightforward, we have it's 4 production members from DCP playing in this game, correct?
Yeah.
So I think those 4 people, before we reveal all of them, but I think that those 4 are going to be in a very good position in this game. And I think exactly like you said, I think he's someone in that group of 4 that could be easily picked off by that group as like a bottom of their group, because they recognize, like, not as a slight to him, but because they recognize how strong he is. And so his key, as far as I can see it, is to build structures outside of that 4, and to have
Absolutely.
people who are loyal to him above that 4, and to take the shot at that group first. If he can do that, I can see him making it to the end and frankly winning. Like, if he can build himself a really solid structure, and if he's not afraid to go after the people that he has a pre-existing relationship with quickly, I think he wins the game. But I worry that he doesn't. I also know he sometimes can get emotional and get like really focused on, why don't people understand the logic that I'm presenting? I'm being super reasonable. They should totally get it. And then like they don't, because not everyone is logical like that. Like I know I am, but a lot of people are more emotional and they make their decisions differently than he does. And that can be frustrating to him. So that's something he has to watch out for. So if I'm being practical, I think he's a late, like he'll be one of our final jury members. But I think I would really like him to win.
Yeah. If I'm being practical, go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
Yeah, my big thing for John gameplay wise that I think he needs to do is like pull in people who like maybe like Gigi or Alex that we talked about before who are a bit less connected within this cast, and like pull them in and like build an army with them rather than relying as much on his specific connections. Because within the group of 4 of the DCP production people, I think that they're gonna turn on him first for his like villainous like strategic tendencies. So I think he needs to build other connections and kind of get those to get a better footing, and kind of push himself forward that way.
Yeah, just to say, like, John is very reactionary sometimes, to kind of go off what Jay said. And there was a boot in the long game he played for Dynamic Productions, Survivor X Island, where they put out one of his closest ally members, and he blew up on it. And eventually someone else got booted, but then he ended up getting booted, I think, right after, or like 1 or 2 boots after, and people like didn't remember it. I remembered it deep down. I think that's gonna be his where he has to play, is playing down his emotions, just flying underneath the radar, getting this connection with people, knowing that like some of the people will let him get out. I'm gonna let Marvin in. We'll cut that out. But yeah, I think he's gonna have to let those people on the outside come in and take him underneath his wing, because I think his own is gonna cut him really fast. I can see them maybe cutting him right at merge, if not right before merge. I can see it becoming like a huge blindside on his end, and I really hope it doesn't happen. I want John to prove me wrong, but I just don't see how John gets past finals 8-9. I really don't.
Oh, I think he goes further than that. I think he's a lock to make towards the end game. I want him to win, but I don't think he's going to win. But I think he gets further than what you're saying.
All right, I'm gonna move on to our next member, and our co-host Marvin is here, who we mentioned before for everyone. Why is it not working now? There we go. Oh, next up we have Ian Moorhead. His pronouns are he, him. He's 25 from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he works in vendor services representative. He's a vendor service representative. Sorry. So Ian is also one of the 4 members of the production team we have at DCP. He's actually only played 1 game, and it was a long game, and that game was a mess. It's very bad. It was so Ian was not a good. It was in a good decent position of the game, but then it was between 2 Patreon groups, and where the Patreon groups end up having one more on one side, and it eventually screw him over. He doesn't have much for me to go off of. I think Ian's very likable. I mean, the problem I see with Ian is I love Ian. Ian's great, but Ian does not like a lot of people. And if Ian does not like you, he makes it very clear he does not like you. And I think that can bite him in the ass. Luckily, I think the good thing is he does have some of his production members, but I do think that if he's only stuck with in a position where it's only one of them, and the rest of them are like, oh, Ian's not very social, I think he can be really good socially. I do. Ian can get in. However, if he doesn't like somebody, he's going to make it very clear to them. I think he can fight him, but I do think he would be, I think he's a potential for the late game. I'll be honest. I think he can fight his way through. But I'm just worried about that, how I know Ian personally. And again, he makes it clear he doesn't like someone. I think that's not so great for his game at the end of the day.
I have no idea how Ian's gonna play. Like, not at all.
Me neither.
As someone who knows Ian, I'm like, what is he gonna do? Like, how is he gonna actually handle all of this? So I'm excited for Ian, but it's really like one of the people on this cast who I'm like only like confusion, like, because I know he has connect, but like, how is he gonna use them? Where is he gonna go with them? I have no idea.
And I think the funny thing is I can see Ian, like, I love Ian, he knows this, but I can picture him just like, I'm gonna meme everyone and I'm just gonna take out all the people I know just to just to have fun. And I could see him, and then I could see him just taking everyone out one by one, just be like, haha, look what I'm doing to you guys. And then he's immediately like the resulting cause of that, because then he gives other people the numbers. I could see Ian doing it just to mess around with his friends, and then immediately biting him right in the ass.
So I'm going to throw a curveball here, and I'm going to pick Ian as my winner pick. I don't know. Like you guys said, I think everything you say is valid. He hasn't played. He's played one game. It's a hard game to read off of. Frankly, I don't even know much about what happened in that game. And there may be some things that are like that can be turnoffs about Ian, I guess, to people. But I think that helps early game. I think he's got connections, and I think he's seen this type of game plenty of times, is very aware of it. And I think he finds a way to sort of sneak his way to the end and pull it off. So I'm going to pick him as my winner pick. It's hard to say because I have a few people who I really like and who I think have a good shot, but I'm going with him. And so we'll see what he does, but do me proud, Ian, because I'm going out for it.
And there you go. That is our first winner pick on the cast, everyone. There you go. We already have it. All right. We're going to go ahead and move on unless anyone else has anything else to say. Okay. Next, we have Lilly Petzold, who is the fourth and final member of the DCP production team. Her pronouns are she, her. She's 26. She lives in Maryland, and she is a florist. So Lilly is like this quirky, punny girl who like is one of the nicest people I know. She's super social, and she played the DCP long game, and that's how she got to the end, and ultimately lost by, I think, one vote because of how social she was, but she just lost someone who was slightly more strategic than her, and had an excellent final tribal council, which is what lost the game, is that hers is a little weaker, and that person able to flip votes off her. But Lilly is super nice. She's super likable. She's kind of she's going to probably play that up as sweet girl from Maryland, and she's going to fly right. I think she'll fly right underneath the radar in their second game like she did in the first one. And I could see Lilly going against the end. I could see it. I could see it potentially happening.
Yeah, if we have a final three, I think that Lilly makes it to that final three. If it's a final two, I could see it being between her and Carrie for the final two. But I think Lilly makes it far. I think what holds Lilly back is like you said, that she's such a sweet and nice person that she could potentially have a hard time cutting people who are close to her, who have a better chance at potentially who have more of a quote unquote resume. And so what I would love to see, and I don't fully expect it, but what I would love to see from Lilly is just a completely ruthless game from the start. I'd love to see her just come into her confessionals and be like, I'm friends with this person. I'm gonna cut him. I don't care. I'm gonna come in here and slay everything, and relationships don't matter, and I'm gonna be the toughest motherfucker out here. And I don't know if she's gonna do that. I suspect she won't, but I would love to see that.
I would love to see that too from Lilly, for sure.
Lily's going arc.
Oh my gosh, I will have so much fun. Lilly, please do that. And if you aren't, just know if you're watching this after, I'm very disappointed. Because I know she'll say like that too. But yeah. Anyone else have anything?
No. I was gonna say the exact same thing that Jay said. I can see her getting to the end, like that final three, final two. I think I don't know Lilly, but just from what I've seen from her interview and how you guys talk about her, how she's social, I can see her get into that final three. It's just depending on how strategic she plays it during the mini, if she can get that extra push to get there.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So next we have Matt Williamson. His pronouns are he, him. He is 24. He's from North Carolina. He's a restaurant manager. And I will say this, Matt is who I would probably want to win. Everyone here knows I love Matt. Matt is one of my great friends. I recently played a game with Matt where he won. And he was like, we were like Sarah Lucina, Tony Vlachos, but on opposite sides. if we didn't go watch that, I'll shout out Survivor Domination Island too. The Jack on Hyde mini. Great game. Survivor Jack on Hyde. It was Marvin's yelling because anyone doesn't know. Matt idled one of his allies. I idled one of me and Marvin's allies, and I accidentally idled out my own co-host. So there you have it. That's like Marvin shaking his head, if anyone's wondering. But yeah, he's an amazing player. I think he can bite him in the ass. I want Matt to win. I just don't see it happening. And like I said, Matt has this thing where like there's always that one person who's gonna overshine him. And that one person's always gonna be in the numbers a little bit more than he is. And that person always gets him. He is known as the worst move king. I got it this season, but Matt will be returning to get a worst move king as usual. I think he's gonna make the worst move in this game. He knows I love him, but he is so bad at some strategic decisions sometimes, and it bites him in the ass every single time. I want him to learn from it. I hope he does, but I see it being like a problem for him and doing something dumb and getting cut like final 7.
All right, I'll go super specific with my prediction here, and that means that there's a low chance of it being right, but if it is right, I deserve major props, so I'm putting that on the table right away. But I think Matt is going to find one of our hidden idols, and I think Matt is going to use it on someone other than himself and end up going home because of that choice. And so what I want from Matt is if you find an idol, use it on yourself.
Use it on yourself.
Use it on someone else. Don't be like yourself and Jay and Naleski. You use the idol on yourself. You have a chance to keep yourself safe 1 round. Do it, please.
Listen. I knew my other ally was going home. I played on him. I didn't know that he was going to pull that on me. So that was a good move for me. It was a bad move for him. I will say that.
Yeah, it was what it was. But that's how I think Matt's going home, and I don't want it to happen. So Matt, you're thinking of using the idol on someone else. Use it on yourself.
Don't be afraid to use an idol on yourself, please.
Exactly.
And Matt says this too, like openly. He goes, I don't like playing idols on myself. I like to be a hero and play on other people. And it bites him in the ass so much.
Yeah, don't do it, Matt.
Don't do it.
Use it on yourself. You could go far, but I'm afraid that you won't, and therefore you will end up going out sooner than you should. So that's my prediction.
Yeah, I could never use an idol on anyone else. I'm not nice like that.
Me neither.
Unfortunately, I was that nice. But anyone else have anything? Marvin, you want to say something on this guy over here who screwed you over in a game?
I do see him getting to like anywhere from like 5th to 7th place, because from what I've seen, he's not scared to take out the big targets, even if that puts him even lower. He will do what he has to climb up. If he has to be more social, he'll do it. If he has to be more strategic, he will, but not as strategic as he needs to be. So that's what I think, like anywhere from 5th to 7th.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that'd be pretty accurate. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. Next, we have Kyle Durrett. His pronouns are he, him. He's 22 from Sacramento, California, and he's a student. So I will say Kyle is another one of my good friends. Kyle is very strategic, can be very social, plays up the fact that he's a quirky kid, and he plays it up. He slides underneath the radar. Kyle can go deep, and people can regret it. I think Kyle can just be that kid who just kind of slides by. In his first game, that's how he did it, and he got himself out by giving his ally an idol clue. So if you're listening to this, Kyle, if you have idol clues, don't give them to anyone. Maybe you'll win this many if that happens. Who knows? I just have to throw that shade, but I know he's also in the DCP long game. He's still currently in it at the time of recording this. He's playing, bro, I understand he's pretty in there socially. I just think it will be someone who can get cut like, Final 4 if we have Final 3, or Final 3 if we have Final 2. He can be like that last member of the jury who just like everyone wants to just miss it because he's too strong of a player. I think I can see that happening to Matt or Kyle, just being that last member of the jury who just everyone wanted to vote for, but just was too strong of a threat if he doesn't win that last immunity.
I'm worried about Kyle being too loyal to people.
Yeah.
I feel like he does always stick very loyal. rather than like he doesn't have, at least with my experience with him, that cutthroat sense about him to like throw someone else under the bus that's with him. So that's my big worry. I think he probably will go pretty far, but I think he might be one of those. I think he fits in that archetype of like the alliance member who gets cut rather than making it to the end. And even though I want better, and I think out of the like three young like college age guys, I think he's probably gonna go the farthest. But I'm worried that he might have that fate of maybe even being idled out again, if he's unlucky.
Yeah, I could definitely see it happening. I do think I love Kyle, but I don't know. I think he learned from his mistake, but I don't know if he would think his mistake through again in this fast-paced sense. And he could very well slip up on his words and accidentally say it and get himself in trouble and have that position where someone gets the idol and uses it against him again. He's gonna hate me for this, but he knows I love him. But yeah, I could see it.
I think the key to Kyle is has played in the DCP game as many have, and we've talked about this DCP4, the production members who know each other and are likely to work together if they get the opportunity to. I think Kyle's way of getting far in this game is to pick one or two of those four and to pitch that you need me to help you against the other of this group. You need me as your number, and we need to start cutting within the group. And so that leaves him being brought late in the game. And if he can play it and kind of twist it right, maybe even getting, to the end, which is like, use me as your number. You guys are a four. You're going to need someone, and you're probably going to need a couple people, but you definitely need at least one. Let me be that one, and let me help you win the game. And if Kyle can make that pitch successfully, then I think Kyle goes very far. If not, and if Kyle, then those four know Kyle, and they can also very easily cut him sooner than later. So I don't think Kyle's an early boot, but I think it's going to depend on how Kyle plays to see if he goes far or if he doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on. We have Gaby Rivera Mallo. Pronouns are she, her. She is 39. She's from New York City, and she is unemployed. I love Gaby. I think she's great. Gaby is like such a likable person. She has some strategic games, some social game, but I just don't know how fast she can bring it. I'm hoping Gaby makes merge. I really want Gaby to go deep, but I think she has to get out of the cast very quickly. She has to find her people and she has to make moves and get there, and that's her path. But I do see her being like maybe like 11th, 10th, 9th, somewhere around there for sure.
Yeah, Gaby is a Survivor super fan, and I definitely think she knows the mechanics to pull off a move. I think she just has to find and get in with a good amount of people to be able to pull off those moves.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, she makes me nervous early game in particular. She's played a DCP game before, but she was out very quickly, so she's not going to have the level of connection that some of the others might, who made it a little bit further. And I think she's the kind of person who can very much like G. Like, I feel like she could very easily be a first boot for her tribe because it's easy, and she may not have those connections. But it is a video-based game, so that gives her a good opportunity to like use that charm and that sense of humor that she has to push herself further. And if she can do that, then she might become underestimated and be able to get it far. But unfortunately, if I'm being realistic about it, I see her going early in this game, despite how fun and like a great personality that she is.
Yeah. Anyone else got anything or chime in? All right, we're going to move on. We have Elijah Van Camp-Goh. Pronouns are he, him. He is 19. He's from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and he's a music student. I will say, Elijah, I know you root for me in DCP, We played Sword together. I didn't really get to play with you. You're smart strategically, but sometimes, but man, what are you doing socially? If you watch DCP, you would know. Elijah has a tendency to throw out name, and that can bite him in the butt so fast in this game. This is a mini, and if someone's like that, you go after them. And I think that's something Elijah's not going to realize in the mini format, especially because I don't think he's ever played a mini before. He's going to be like, name, and then all of a sudden, up right from underneath his feet. That I think Elijah is. I think he's a great guy. He's great to talk to. He got a great personality. I just see him going pre-marriage for sure. I don't see how he gets in very well. I see him getting cut. I see his feet getting cut from underneath him because he's playing too hard, too fast.
Yeah, Elijah's really smart, but he makes it really clear he's really smart. So that's the like big problem there for him. Like he really needs to like get in with a group, because my worry is that he'll be like the outlier that like everyone knows will be a threat if you keep him too long. So he's just going to be an easy cut early to like just like on his tribe, just like, okay, he comes off really smart. He's like very much one of those people who like super like lead the charge on like how to strategize for challenges and stuff. Like he makes his presence known, and so I'm worried that if he's not in the main group, he's the one you can just get rid of, who's going to be like too threatening to keep much longer.
No, for sure. He is going to get himself. He's going to put himself in trouble early. He does in every single he does.
I think he could. With my like this sort of alternate, like this is not what I'm predicting, but this sort of alternate universe that I would love to see is something where Elijah, Kyle, and John all get together, and these are the numbers that John uses to turn against his sort of group of four and come in to make it very late in the game and win. I think that would be a wonderful thing to watch and to see. I don't actually see that happening, and I do see Elijah being a little bit, not a first boot, but an early boot. But I hope not. Like I would love to see this be a number sort of in this like outside group that's trying to fight for control amongst this like group of four DCP production members. So that's my hope is for Elijah, but I'm not sure that we're going to see it.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything to chime into or with Elijah? Yeah. Okay. All right. Next we have McKenna Inglis. Your pronouns are she, her. 26 in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and she's a occupation program coordinator. I will say I stand McKenna. I love McKenna. Sport management people for life. Great major. Y'all can sure consider it. McKenna is someone who's gonna be hit or miss for me. She's either gonna go pre-merge or she's gonna go deep. I'm talking she's gonna be in or she's gonna be out right away. And that's what her game's gonna come down to. She's incredibly social, she's incredibly nice, she's a huge book reader. She's read over, I forgot how many books, but it was like a decent amount in 2021. She has part of a Bad Bitch book club. It's amazing, who bring a lot of amazing people to DCP, and a lot of which are actually here. Lily's also part of that. I really worry for her in the early game if she doesn't get that one-on-one connection or have that. And I just don't see her having the strategic game to win this game. That's the thing worry with her. I think she's very social. I love her as a person, but in these minis, you gotta have that strategic game more so than anything. I don't see her having it, to be completely honest.
Yeah, her best asset is her social game by far. Like she's so nice, she's so funny. But yeah, I'm not sure how, like in a short format, if she's gonna have enough time to really think through all her moves in order to like make the best strategic plays. Like I think she might end up falling into things with like allies plans and accidentally set herself up to kind of be like someone who can go pretty far, but will like not necessarily have moves under her belt that people are giving her credit for. they might give it more credit to like people around her, people she's been able to work with. I love McKenna. But yeah, that is my one worry. Just within this cast, what may end up happening.
Yeah, so I guess my hope for McKenna is that sort of the opposite of the guys that I've just mentioned is I would love to see McKenna become a number for the DCP girls. Like I'd love to see her work with Lilly and with Carrie and get something done. I think they have a lot, like they have sort of some similarities, as you mentioned. They have that Bad Bitch Book Club connection. They're all more social sort of players. They're all women. Like I would love to see this be a group that gets together and dominates the game. I'm not certain that's going to happen, but that's sort of my hope for McKenna here.
Yeah. Good. All right. Next, we have Andrew Marcus, pronouns are he, him. He's 35 from Limerick, Pennsylvania, and he is a personal trainer. And I will say this now, Andrew is my winner pick. So I think Andrew is amazing strategically. I think he's got this. We asked the cast to put these videos together for our fantasy game that you guys will be participating in while the season is airing. I will talk about that a little bit more in another video that we'll make or in our Facebook post. I'm not sure how I'm really gonna do that, but he's gonna play being the family guy. He's even in this video. He's with his family at the park. That's who I am. I'm gonna play that up, get in early. But he is going to be strategic. He's going to be cutthroat. And I see him just sliding right into the cracks of that DCP thing and just being boom, 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 getting him out. And I can see him being at the end, being like, how the hell did this guy get through all these people and make it to the end of the game? I see it being very clear. I think if he can do that, clear-cut winner. I really like him. I think he's great. I don't know much about him. But I can see him being that really smart guy, and I think people are going to underestimate him. He's got a lot of similarities. He can play that family guy up. I just see him getting in more so than a lot of people that don't have the connections. And I'm really hoping for it. Like I said, he's my winner pick, and I think he's going to do well.
Yeah, I think Andrew can do really well. I just looking at him, he's so like I would immediately be like, oh, challenge threat. That's the one thing. Like, but he could probably play that off if need to, especially over like Zoom and like on camera. It's a little bit different, but like that would be the one thing where it'd be like, oh God, like you don't want to bring the big guys to the end. I know in personal experience that like fucked me over where I brought two dudes who were much more athletic than I am, and that ends up literally getting me voted out. So it's just, yeah, I'm worried that might be something that other people will pick up on, but I think he can ingratiate himself with people pretty well. So I don't see him going pre-merge, but I'm really unsure of whether he'd be like super endgame or like merge boot.
He's winning.
I know that's what you're saying. I'm not going to say that with as much confidence. That's where I stand.
Yeah, if Andrew goes really early in this game, I will be very disappointed. I think he's gonna be great TV. I think he's gonna come in confessionals and he's gonna come in hot, and I'm gonna love that in my editing. That's for sure. I think as long as Andrew's in the game, he's gonna be great. I just really hope I'm right and he does go far at the end of the day. I'd be very disappointed if he went early. All right, now we got our 16th and last person of the cast, which is Bo. Pronouns are he, him, and as he said in his application, newly 30. So I was gonna put it. He's from South Dakota. He's a travel nurse. Bo is kind of this weird question mark to me. Like he seems strategic. He seems like this nice guy, but he comes off very shy and very quirky in the camera. So I like Bo. I'd like to see Bo go far, but I just don't know where Bo fits in this cast. I think he's going to be not a first boot, but I can see him being like that late pre-merge boot again. Like I just don't know where he fits in this cast. I really don't. I like Bo. I think he's a great personality to have. He's that super quirky, likable guy, but I just don't know if he has a social chops or I think he's strategic chops, but I just don't know to what extent and how fast he's gonna be able to get the connections in. I think there's some people who are gonna be able to break through that DCP cracks that really quickly.
Yeah, I have no idea how he plays or like how he wants to play or like how he's gonna maneuver himself through it. Like I think he can go pretty far if he finds like a
Yeah.
good foundation. It's just I don't know how he's gonna go about that, and like so it's hard for me to necessarily see him super far with just that lack of knowledge compared to other people on the cast who I've seen play or who I know on a personal level, where it's just like an interesting situation. I'm excited to see how Bo does. I hope he brings good TV. That's more important to me than gameplay, personally. So
I like Bo. I really like Bo, and he has the last name of Barnes, who a good friend of production here, Eric Barnes, who played an amazing strategic game. Bo has a lot of chops to live up to with that last name. You don't want to disappoint Eric because Eric will come after you, and we both know Eric will not be happy.
not Eric.
I love it. I love Eric, but I think Eric would be very disappointed if his name got lived down. So I'm really hoping Bo would prove you wrong, but I just don't see it happening. I'm seeing him being too shy, too quirky, and just gonna be like, all right, well, we're getting close to the merge. Don't know really where this guy's gonna fit in with me, and he's gonna right there. Anyone else got anything? All right, and I think that's just gonna click off here. Yeah. All right. So that is, I'm gonna stop sharing screen. All right, so that is our cast assessment here at Radical Reality Productions. We look forward to seeing for you watching when we are recording on Saturday. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We are looking forward to here. I am your host, signing off along with my co-host Marvin Burgos and production member Michael Riley, who is still here, and some people who cannot join us, but will be joining us on Saturday. We are excited to see you and for you to be watching and interacting with us during our first season. Have a good night, everyone.